As we're studying the book of Job together, this chapter 1, we're going very slowly through chapter 1 and portions of chapter 2 because it sets the backdrop for everything else is going to be said in the book. We'll pick up steam later on when we get into the dialogues, but we're looking at all that is being said here, and we're in the third scene in this this challenge concerning Job. We've already seen that God and Satan have talked about Job. We've seen that Job is a very wealthy man, but now we're going to see how he reacts in adversity, in trial, in pain. And so we pick it up in chapter 1, verse 13, and Satan has said that Job is nothing more than a paid lover. He loves the Lord because the Lord has paid him off. And that would be his accusation, I believe, of almost anybody. He doesn't believe anybody would love the Lord simply because of the goodness of the Lord. They have to be paid off. And so he is challenging God's view, and he's challenging Job. And starting in verse 13, the test begins. It says, "Now it happened that on that day when his sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in the house of their brother, the firstborn, the messenger came to Job and said, the oxen were plowing and the donkeys feeding beside them. And the Sabaeans fell upon them and took them. They also struck down the young man with the edge of the sword, and I alone have escaped to tell you. And while this one was still speaking, another came and said, the fire of God fell from heaven and burned up the sheep and the young man and consumed them, and I alone have escaped to tell you. While this one was still speaking, another one came and said, the Chaldeans set up 3 companies and made a raid on the camels and took them and struck down the young man with the edge of the sword, and I alone have escaped to tell you. While this one was still speaking, another also came and said, your sons and your daughters were eating and drinking wine in the house of your brother, the firstborn. And behold, a great wind came from across the wilderness and touched the 4 corners of the house and fell on the young men and the young people, and they died. And I alone have escaped to tell you." What a scenario. One after the other, as fast as it could happen, Job's world crumbles. His wealth is gone. All of his livestock is gone. His servants are gone. They had mostly been killed or ran off. And even his children, his beloved children, who had gathered for one of their feasts, have all been slain or died from this great storm. And so he has lost it all. Satan's scenario, his assessment, is that Job only follows the Lord because he's paid to do so. You remove the hedge, remove the props, remove the prosperity. And what would Job do? He'll turn against the Lord. And so the Lord allows him to do this, and all of his props, all of his hedge is removed. He's lost it all in just a moment of time. Now, how does Job react to this? And this is one of the great sections of the book of Job, of course. It says in verse 20, Job arose and tore his robe and shaved his head, and he fell to the ground. Now, I want to stop there for a moment because I want you to note that Job is not a stoic. He's not saying that, oh, this is wonderful, the Lord has taken everything away from me. Job is in unbelievable pain. He's hurt, especially over, I'm sure, the loss of his children and perhaps grandchildren, although we're not told that. So he is in pain. He is suffering. He's hurting, just like any of us would be. And he reacts just like he should react, in great grief towards the things that he's lost. That is not sinful. That is not wrong. That is not unspiritual. It is what the greatest man of his age did. And we appreciate that. But we go further. And this is where it gets unbelievable in many ways because it's so incredible what he does. And that is he fell to the ground and he worshiped. Now, it's not unbelievable in the sense that that this didn't happen. It's unbelievable that a man would do this. How many people who lost everything in life would now fall to the ground in their suffering, in their pain, and worship God? What a man this is. And then he goes on to say this, naked I came out from my mother's womb, and naked I shall return there. Yahweh gave, and the Yahweh's taken away. Blessed be the name of Yahweh. He sees that he came into this world with nothing. He's going to leave this world with nothing. Everything that he's had up to this point has been a gift from God, and he thanks the Lord for what he's been given. And if the Lord chooses to allow it to be taken away, so be it. And that's Job's attitude. And it's incredible. It's marvelous. Nothing could be better at this point in Job's life and his experience. And so that's why it ends chapter 1 with these words. Through all of this, Job did not sin, nor did he give offense to God. Job has maintained his integrity, his uprightness, his God-fearingness. Job is still the man that God said he is, and there's no question. Satan has failed. Job is not a paid lover. Job is truly the real deal. He's the complete package. He's a man of God. May we all desire to be that kind of a person.